Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pardon the Interruption. Today, we got a good show for you. I am Ethan here with Nick to my right and Alex to my left. Two topics we will be discussing today. We'll start it off with the MLB. And Nick, we'll start with you. The Philadelphia Phillies have been really hot recently. They've been able to turn it around under Rob Thompson. Are the Phillies going to make the playoffs? Yes or no, and why?
I think they are. 15 of their last 18 games they've won. They've been one of the best teams in baseball, arguably the best team in the National League, them in Atlanta, in all of the month of June. Rob Thompson, I think, has put a sspark into this team. The bats are hitting. Bryce Harper looks like an MVP candidate again. Kyle Schwarber's been fantastic. Rhys Hoskins has been fantastic. Obviously, you're going to have peaks and valleys with him, but right now he's at the top of that peak. Starting pitching's been great. I mean, they have three guys that you've been able to count on this season with Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and, of course, Kyle Gibson, who pitches tonight in Texas against his old team. There's still some concerns. The bullpen, although I think it'll get better, they do have what looks to be a legitimate closer in Sir Anthony Dominguez. Obviously, in spots you'd like the defense to be better as well. But overall, they're playing really, really good baseball. They're a loaded team. I mean, just look at the payroll. I think they're finally doing what they should be doing, and that's winning a whole lot of baseball games, beating up on these below-average teams they've been playing on.
Definitely good to see the Phillies being hot right now, and good to see Dominguez back to his old form. Alex, agree or disagree? Your thoughts?
I'm going to disagree with you, Nick. And look, you mentioned they've won 15 of 18 games here in the last couple of weeks. But look who they've played, Nick. They played an Angels team who was in a double-digit loss streak. They played a Brewers team that was slumping in offense, a Diamondback and Marlins team that you should beat no matter how good you are. And they just came off beating who did they just beat?
Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks. Or no, I already said
Marlins.
No, I already said that. They just play.
Padres?
Anyways, they'd be another bad team. Besides that point, you mentioned Rhys Hoskins. You said he's peaking right now. It's only going to go downhill from here. If he's peaking now, I mean, is this as good as it gets? Because it's still not what we need him to be. And then you also mentioned Atlanta. You said they're one of the hottest teams, them and the Braves. But listen, the Braves are still ahead of them. And not to mention the New York Mets are still ahead of them. They have to even think about getting that division first if they want to make the playoffs. Because right now, I think they're, 8.5 games back? That's a lot of ground to make up on a good team like the Mets.
Okay, we're going to have time for quick rebuttals here, but let's keep it at 20 seconds on these rebuttals. Nick, anything to dispute his point? Well, why do you think the Phillies are really going to make the playoffs this season?
Well, he mentions, the fact that they beat up on bad competition. I don't put as much stock into that when it comes to baseball as I would in other sports such as basketball or football, because there's just more parity in the nature of the game of baseball. It's easier if you're a good team, if you're a bad team, to beat a good team. So any team can lose on any given day. I don't put any stock into they played lesser competition. I agree.
I'm going to have to cut you off, Nick. That's 20 seconds. Alex?
You mentioned the nature of the game and all that, but at the end of the day, the Phillies, when it comes to summer baseball, Nick, if history repeats itself, which I think it will, they're going to fall off a cliff here very shortly, and they're not going to make the playoffs. Every year, we're kind of at this spot, this little hot summer streak, and then it always ends at us sitting at home come fall.
Okay, thank you, guys. One more topic today. We're going to move on to the NBA. Zion Williamson, number 1 draft pick a few years ago, and he has been touted as one of the most talented players in the NBA. But he has only played for part of 1 season out of the 3 seasons he's been in the NBA. Of course, concerns have arisen about his weight. Nicholas, do you think that Zion Williamson and the Pelicans, or the Pelicans rather, should sign Zion Williamson to a max contract extension?
I think they should sign Zion Williamson to a max contract because, number one, if you look at the history of the New Orleans Pelicans, they got lucky, if you think back, they got lucky in drafting Chris Paul. He was not supposed to be available for them in that draft. They got lucky with him. They let him get away. They got lucky winning the lottery in the Anthony Davis draft, who was one of the better prospects, in a long time. They let him get away. I don't think they could do this to their customer base again, letting a player like Zion, who, if I'm going to be honest, Zion's the greatest college basketball player I've ever seen. What he did at Duke in, I believe it was 2019, I've never seen a college athlete that dominant physically and that explosive night in and night out. It was amazing. I know he's been injured. I still think his ceiling is unbelievably high. People forget he was healthy last season and averaged 27 points per game, I believe, on 62% from the field, which is better than Shaquille O'Neal's prime seasons. I think Zion's an amazing talent. I think the Pelicans have to lock him up.
Alex?
Obviously, Zion Williamson is a great talent, but the best ability is availability. And Zion Williamson has not played in a very long time, Nick. And his weight is a concern for me. And if you lock him up, I mean, if they were to lock him up on a max extension right now, how many games does he even play? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's got 1 foot out the door wanting to leave New Orleans in the first place. You've got a guy that doesn't even really want to be there, can't stay healthy. Why would you want to lock him up?
I mean, listen, saying he doesn't want to be there, I get that it's the NBA, and I get that, when a star says he wants out in that league, oftentimes that is what comes to fruition, but it doesn't have to be. Zion is under the Pelicans' control. If they want to sign him long term, they should, and I think he's just such an amazing talent. He's such a once-in-a-lifetime physical specimen that I feel if they did let him go, they could turn out to really, really regret it.
Alex, you have the final word.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the hard part about this is when it comes to these contracts, there's 2 parts of the deal. Obviously, you have the proposal, and then you have to have the player agree to the contract. The Pelicans can want to keep him. They can feel the need to keep him because they've invested so much draft stock into him, but he's got to sign the paper at the end of the day.
Thank you. That's going to do it for PTI today. First take coming up next, Stephen A. and a mystery guest coming on with Molly. I've been Ethan here with Alex and Nick. See you tomorrow.